It was February 14th, Valentine's Day. The roses came, but they took...
What's the strangest thing I've seen on the ropes whilst at work? Well, doing the job we do, we get to see some strange things, unique things. We get to work in some great places as well. Some unique places on top of bridges, structures, buildings. You get to see a lot of cities, skylines of cities, where a lot of people don't get to see that. We get to see a lot of that. The strangest thing I've seen, I think those who've read the book will remember, there was an incident in London. We were working on this apartment block, on this building, and we happened to glance over and see this. It was like something out of a Jason Bourne film. This guy was strapped to a chair in his apartment, or in a apartment, and it looked like he was being robbed. So we initially, obviously, you see it and you're like, you don't really know what to think, and you start watching it like a car crash, and things start to unfold. And the guy I was with decided to ring the police whilst we were watching this guy getting beat up whilst taped to his chair in what we could assume was his apartment. So things begin to unfold, and he anyway, the police arrive. They had the blue lights on but no sirens. We watched them from the roof get out the car. They proceeded up to the apartment. Now, this is when we thought it was all going to kick off, and we were watching, crouched down, thinking, this is it, you know, it's going to happen, something's going to happen. And lo and behold, the apartment where the guy was in the chair, the police that we'd seen entered the apartment as well, and then proceeded to give him a few slaps around the back of the head. So it was obviously something to do with the police. But yeah, you see things like this, and it's quite unnerving. But again, like you say, because of the position we work in, down the sides of buildings, I mean, we've been down the sides of buildings looking into apartments, and there's been guys and girls walking around naked because they don't expect to see you that high up. So you do get to see some strange things. So yeah.
Tattooed on my arm is a charm to disarm all the harm. Gotta keep myself calm, but the truth is you're gone, and I'll never get to show you these songs. Dad, you should see the tours that I'm on. I see you standing there next to Mom, both singing along. Yeah.
The most scary moment for me on the ropes, one of them was I was doing a job in Leeds on this apartment block. We'd been on the ropes for about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, and with no warning, my live line, basically the line that I was hanging on, just went straight through, and the next thing I know, I dropped through the sky about a couple of feet, maybe a couple of meters, before my backup line, which at the time was a shunt, which is like a friction device. By the time that kicked in and gripped the rope on my backup line, I'd gone a fair way down the building. But the thing is, I'd been climbing many years before, and I'd fallen on a lot of routes. But the difference in this was when you fall, when you climb, you kind of almost know it's going to happen. The majority of the time, anyway, you know it's going to happen. This time, because we were working away, it just happened, and yeah, it was quite scary. So it's weird how your senses kick in, because I immediately just, once I could see the end of the cut rope on the floor and the end of my rope that went through my stop also on the floor, I realised that I had to unthread it, put my stop on my backup line, and then take the shunt off. I think I took the shunt off. I probably didn't need to, but I took it off and descended to the few feet or meters I had left. And I remember the level 3 like coming down to me, screaming, I think, through nerves, because potentially he was in a position where he might have had to do a rescue. So yeah, that was quite scary. Although when it happens, it's a strange feeling. It doesn't. It sounds a bit blasé, but it's because I'd been climbing and I'd fallen a lot. This was just work, and it was kind of like you just picked yourself up and got on with it. Probably more scary than that. And again, if those who have read the book, and this was also in Leeds, I wonder why I haven't gone back to Leeds to do much work. Anyway, this guy, we just finished, me and Rich were on the ropes, we just got near enough to the bottom. And this time, those who've been on the ropes a while, you can tell when someone's messing with your ropes. You can feel the vibration. If it rubs over something, you can feel it. And I could feel something was happening with my ropes, and I just thought it was over a ledge or going against a bit of flashing. But I looked up and could see the guy leaning out the window with a knife. So we reached the ground, ran in to the building. Rich stood outside and tried to count what floor he was on. We eventually found the floor. We tried a few doors, a few people answered. You could tell it wasn't them. And Richard remembered what he was wearing. So we knocked this one door. This guy answered. Looked like he'd been eating space cakes or something, smoking something, taking something. And we immediately sensed this was the place. We went in, and behold, the guy who Rich recognised leaning out the window had the same clothing on in the apartment. So and it was like student accommodation. I think it was called Opal 1 or something. It's a big tall place in Leeds. And this guy had been on the session, taking drugs, pushing stuff up his ass, whatever, I don't know. But anyway, he basically was out of his tree and see me and decided it'd be fun to cut my rope. So yeah, that was quite scary. It was quite an adrenaline-fueled moment, because you end up kind of realising that you could have been killed, but then you realise you want to give this guy who did this a bit of a kicking. So we did. Not too much, because we obviously didn't want to get into trouble. So yeah, that was quite scary. That was quite a scary moment. So yeah, that's probably two of the most kind of scariest moments I've had on the ropes during work.
Now there are days when I'm losing my faith, because the man wasn't good, he was great. He'd say music was the home for your pain, and explain I was young, he would say, take that rage, put it on the page, take the page to the stage, blow the roof off the place. I'm trying to make you proud, do everything you did. I hope you're up there with God saying that's my kid.